Another issue, this is also something that your opponents, Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, have called for, including DeSantis very recently, which is an end to birthright citizenship. What's your position on that? Would you end birthright citizenship?
I think for a period of time, I think it's going to be necessary in this country because we have an influx of migrants across that southern border, 14,000 plus per day by some estimates crossing that southern border. That is not the rule of law. That is the abandonment of the rule of law.
Now, before we dive deeper into Vivek's idiocy, Abby Phillip was quick to point out something critically important to him. Now watch.
Both of your parents are immigrants to the United States, so you would have been a beneficiary of birthright citizenship, but you now are saying you would ban that for people coming into the country. And what is the period of time for which that would be the case?
For people coming into the country illegally. That's the key distinction.
What I'm saying is that birthright citizenship, as it is currently in law, does not make that distinction between whether that person was born to someone legally or not. So you are saying that even though birthright citizenship for you was something that was in play, you would take it off the table now. And my question is also, how long would that be the case? And also, how would you do it? Would you go to Congress for a constitutional amendment?
Well, actually, I've supported the 28th Amendment to the Constitution. I'll actually go one step further on this, Abby, is that I don't think someone, just because they're born in this country, even if they're a sixth generation American, should automatically enjoy all the privileges of citizenship until they've actually earned it.
I have to stop there because where do you think that these people will be citizens of? They need to be citizens of somewhere. You think that infants should just be countryless? Okay, but anyway, Vivek sounds like a guy who's literally just throwing everything he can at the wall and seeing what can stick. But he's also targeting high schoolers with his proposals because he tweeted this. Every high school student should be required to pass the same 128 question civics test required of legal immigrants to become citizens. The fact that this is controversial in America is a damning indictment of our republic's health. See test questions below and try it yourself. Now, I think that we should make the citizenship test easier. I don't think that we should be making it harder and then enforcing it on everybody else. But this is unsurprising as a suggestion coming from the guy who recently said this about education.
Abolish the Department of Education, not because I am anti-education, but because I am pro-education and the federal government is actually delivering poorer results for our kids. So I would take that money and distribute it to states to fund underfunded school choice programs. But in order to receive that, those states have to abolish teachers' unions. Full stop. If you're a public school teacher and you are unionizing, think about who you're unionizing against. You're unionizing against the public, the kids you're supposed to represent. That's backwards. We're going to fix it. And that allows those public schools to actually compete against those private schools and charter schools that aren't encumbered by those same teachers' unions as handcuffs.
Incidentally, teachers' unions actually protect the students as well as the teachers because they prevent the teachers from being forced to work in unfair working conditions, which also disadvantages the students. When there's 60 kids in a classroom, you have a teachers union that's going to prevent that from happening. Of course, the student sitting in a classroom of 60 versus 20 kids is going to get a lot worse of an education. But a write-up from Prem Thakur of the New Republic captures how idiotic Vivek sounds in these arguments. So let's take a look at some of this. Surveys in the past have shown that most people would likely fail a basic multiple choice citizenship test. One survey found 36% of respondents actually passing such a test. And given Republicans' all-out assault on public school education, it's unclear what their plan would be to up those numbers. Yet instead of making the citizenship process easier to navigate, Ramaswamy instead wants to make it harder for anyone to be a citizen. More than that, in presidential candidates' formulation lays out tiers of citizenship, a matrix in which until one passes a test, they would be a second-class citizen. And then Thakur closes with this point. While this country already treats scores of people, immigrants, LGBTQ people, laborers, the homeless, and young people as such, Ramaswamy thinks that unfair treatment should be legally bound. And I mean, Mayor, the perfect way to put it. He literally wants people to be second-class citizens.
Man said, I don't think people born here, even if they're sixth generation, should be American. What? How, Sway? Like what are you looking for? What is going on other than you're trying to shock the conscience. And this is what Donald Trump created. Donald Trump didn't create crazy. Donald Trump didn't create the racism the racism in this country. Donald Trump didn't create the racism in the Republican Party, but he did create this level of stupid being normalized. Why is this guy on anybody? Why would Abby spend time talking to Vivek at all? He's pointless.
Right, this man will never come even close to being the president of the United States, and thank God for that. Although the rest of the candidates in the Republican field also equally terrible and horrifying.